Make sure my phone.
Hey everyone, welcome to the moon forecast for the full moon in Capricorn. I'm Kendall with the Bohemian Tarot Girl.
And I'm Amy with Wild Reawakening, and we are here to talk about this full moon that's coming in. Um, yeah, it feels like time is
I
just
know.
flying. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But this full moon's happening on June 21st, 2024, and it's happening at 6:07 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it is at the whole 1 degree of Capricorn and Cancer, which is the sun. Uh, and so we are at the very beginning, and it's happening right on the solstice. And so I feel like this is just a really pivotal moment to have a full moon to really like create a new cycle. And yeah, we're gonna get into this.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as far as the energy and all this. I feel like we have this like kind of, it's like almost amped up, but I'm kind of feeling like kind of turned down too at the same moment. It's hard to explain. We're coming into this, we're recording this on Monday, so prior to the solstice. And that's when we're transitioning into this sun and Cancer energy. And we're hitting this kind of like momentous, we're coming into the summer season. And we're really coming into this place where I think things are gonna just kind of hopefully cruise along. I feel like there's gonna be a little more of just like a little more slight flow. It's not gonna be so intense with some of the things that are gonna be coming up.
Mhm.
But this full moon, so the day after, we're hitting that peak of the full moon right after the solstice. And with that, as you mentioned, it was at that 1 degree point. So right at the beginning. And so we actually get a second full moon in Capricorn in July. And so this is really a huge cycle, I feel like. And I think that was part of the biggest thing that really stood out to me during this time was, paying attention to this cycle. How are you feeling about, um, really that closeout? Because there's some energy tied all the way back to like 2008 when, we had that Pluto energy first come into that Capricorn energy.
Yeah, I don't know. We always follow the cycles, and I love cycles and patterns and all of that. And having two full moons in Capricorn doesn't typically happen. We usually have one full moon in each sign each year, but because there are 13 moons and 12 signs, there's always bound to be one sign that gets it, kind of like the double whammy. And we're getting it this month. And so there's a couple different things that happen when this happens is for now, when we enter a sign, we have a full moon, and then we'll have the new moon following after in the same sign. Um, and now we're going to kind of flip flop that to where we get new moon energy first when we enter a sign. And then later on, we get the full moon energy. And so when you're working with the moon energies, we typically look at new moons as when we create and build, and full moons is when we kind of like release and let go. Um, and give thanks for where we've been. And so it is typically a closing of a cycle. Um, Cats are running through the house again. So it is a closing of a cycle, but this one is almost like its own contained cycle because we're bookending it with this
Yes.
uh, Capricorn full moon.
Yes.
And so we're looking at kind of this progression throughout Cancer season, where something is going to really have some sort of beginning and culmination, where we are now is going to look somewhat different later on in the month when we have the second Capricorn full moon, and you'll be able to see where something has transformed or where something has ended or where you've elevated yourself. And then when we also look at some of these transits that are going to happen throughout this month, we'll be able to kind of pinpoint more of what type of evolution that's going to be. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more. But
Yeah.
um,
It was interesting, with this Capricorn energy, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn and it's that really kind of is gonna like teach us about life, right? Like it's gonna school us and they can be a little bit strict and a little bit kind of like inside your box kind of energy as far as how it teaches us these lessons. And so it's kind of interesting that we're paired here with this very emotional energy of the sun, right? And that's really where we're like all living in at this moment. So it's kind of, how is this going to play out where we're going to have, this Capricorn energy shift, and make some changes in our life, but we're also feeling all of these emotions in this time frame. So,
Yeah, and with every full moon, we have that opposition between the sun and the moon, meaning that, the sun is in Cancer right now, which is a water sign, and then we have the moon, which is opposing it, which is in Capricorn, which is an earth sign, and it's at the complete opposite side of the zodiac wheel. And so we have these two energies that are so different, and they're kind of highlighting each other and illuminating certain things between the two energies, partly how they're so different and how they're so opposite, but also how can we merge these together to make them work. And so I always think of Cancer as being the like kind of motherly energy. It's,
mhm.
it's about, family and emotions and very feminine and comfort and security and safety. And then you have Capricorn, which I kind of always think about like kind of the strict dad that you have.
Yep.
Do your chores and this is the rules and this is how you need to play and this is what you need to do before you can go out and play. And that's just the way it is. And because I said so, it's like all those things that you think of like a really strict dad saying. It really brings in that energy. And so it's really hard when you have, you know, those two oppositions. And especially now as we're moving into summer, I think it's probably like no accident that summer starts with Cancer
Mhm.
because we will want to kind of spend more time at home, go out and play, do the fun things, be creative, kind of remove some of the slack of our typical daily work lives when summer comes around because it's nice out and we want to go enjoy it and enjoy life and eat good food and like be kind of comforted and nurtured and all of the positive things. um and then at the same time we have this Capricorn moon coming in that's like kind of reminding you like you know you still have to pay your bills. You
Yep.
still have to clean out the trash. Can't have all fun and games. We've got work to do. And I think that with the transitions that are going on and this up leveling that's happening throughout the rest of this month, this is a very important energy that this Capricorn moon is bringing in because it's helping to kind of make sure that things are in order so that you can build and you can transition and you're going to have the foundation and the support and the stability and structure around it so that it is successful for you for
Mm.
the rest of the year. It's a really pivotal time.
Yep. It is. And, when I was looking at kind of like the other additional energy of the planets and, what's going on, it, it really like it came up with like the moon is squaring Neptune in Pisces. And that one is at 29 degrees. And then the sun is also squaring Neptune. And so you have a little bit of these feelings that are coming in about insecurity. You might be questioning like why these are happening, what is going on. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of energy focused on some of the key elements in our life. So, like our households, like the actual housing that we have, our jobs, and careers. And we're going to feel a lot of feelings about it. And then there's going to be this energy that's going to be brought into where you might be feeling insecure about where you're going or what's happening. And you just kind of have to, it's going to be fleeting. And so you just have to realize that that moment is going to pass you by and just to take stock of kind of what those pieces are and not kind of dig into them, like hold on to them and like dwell in them. It's more of like to let them go by you. It's just a part of this like kind of learning path. And we're probably going to see the end of it as we come out at that end of July full moon when we have that cycle close. You're going to kind of see why there was some insecurities that came up and how that benefited you in the long run, especially in your emotional development and growth. So I think that is key during this time.
Oh yeah, I can speak from experience on that, as last week I found out that I was going to have to move.
Yes.
Uh, and it did bring up some emotions like, why am I having to do this again? Why can't things just work out? But then it created like, then, I think some of that Capricorn energy was here a little bit early because I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to find a place to live. I'm going to make it work and just signed a lease on a new place. So it's more like set the emotions aside.
Yep.
Make sure that you're doing what you need to do to maintain stability and create a path forward instead of getting caught up in the feelings of it all.
Yeah,
Even feelings can be amplified during Cancer season.
exactly. Exactly. What else kind of like came up for you?
Um, Well, we have Mars in Taurus,
Hmm.
and it is making a trine to the moon in Capricorn because they're both Earth element signs, so that can create a trine. But it's kind of it's not a close trine, it's kind of a wide trine because Mars is already at 9 degrees and the moon's at 1 degree. So they had to have a little bit of distance. But that Taurus Mars being in a fellow Earth sign is also kind of giving some motivation um, to get things accomplished. Like it's kind of reinforcing, okay, so we have the energy and we have the drive and we have, the will to kind of move forward and create some kind of pathway forward and to actually like embark on it.
Hmm.
um, and then we do have that Saturn in Pisces. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so Saturn's kind of a big player in this moon because it is kind of the planetary energy of Capricorn. Um, and it is sitting at 29 degrees Pisces. It's getting ready to go retrograde later this month.
Yep.
So it is slowing down. So it kind of feels like there is kind of this delay or this not wanting to move very fast during this time. Um, which could be good because time is moving far too fast these days.
Hmm.
It's like it's Monday, it's Friday, it's Monday, it's Friday, and I work from home, so I don't have like the typical Monday through Friday work day, and it's already like Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday. So
Yep.
uh, I can't imagine how it must feel for those who do, go to work and then it's weekend and then it's another weekend. Like anyway. Um, so we do have Venus and Mercury also in Cancer. There is a lot of Cancer energy in
Yep.
this. Venus being all about the things that you love and about beauty. And so it's really feels good and at home in Cancer. Mercury is all about how we communicate. And so there is an emotional aspect to how you communicate. And these two planets were conjunct, meaning that they were in the same place. And so there might have been some, I don't know, potentially emotionally charged conversations
Yep.
or feelings that were coming up in regards to relationships or um yeah, but it also like those, what am I trying to say, it's it's really like it highlights really the things that you love and the comfortability, and in Cancer it wants to be at home and it wants to feel safe and connected and uh beautiful and like all of those things. And so um we do have, so my mind is still in Gemini
It's
mode, I think.
it's okay.
um, so, so we do have those in Cancer, and we're going to see as the month progresses that those planets that are in Cancer are going to move forward in their degree points, and then they're going to trine the planets that are in Neptune. So we have Neptune in Pisces, um, and or I totally messed it up. The planets that are in Pisces, which
Uh-huh.
are which are Neptune and Saturn at this point. And so when those planets um, reach the trine between the planets in Cancer, or when the planets in Cancer reach, anyway, you know what I'm saying?
I gotcha.
Wow. um, is that Neptune and Pisces are both related to our spiritual growth and our spiritual development. And even Saturn in Pisces has a spiritual component to it because of where it is in Pisces. And it's at the very last degrees of Pisces, which is the very end of the zodiac wheel. And so there is this kind of graduation and up leveling element that comes along when we reach those degree points. And with it being a slow moving planet, it's been like, what, like 80 something years? I don't know.
Hmm.
Or Saturn's like, never mind. Saturn's a 30-year.
Is it 30s? Okay. But still,
Saturn,
that's a long period for.
yeah. Neptune is a very long period, and that is probably the 84-year one
Mhm.
that I'm somehow remembering in my mind. Is that we don't reach those degree points very often, and we especially don't reach those degree points um, kind of similar to each other. So what all of that to say, as I'm going through this rambling about these planets, have you seen, this is total sidetrack, but have you seen that meme where there's the guy standing at the chalkboard and he's like doing all the equations, and there's one for astrology that says me trying to explain astrology? I totally feel like that guy at this moment. Um, but but what is happening later in this month is that there's going to be a trine between the planets in Cancer, which are personal planets, and the long-standing planets that are sitting in Pisces. And it is creating this element of an up leveling and a graduation and a transformation in regards to your own personal spirituality. And so I think a lot of people are going to have realizations around um, their spiritual growth, stepping into their gifts, kind of becoming more in tune with their intuition. Like there's just a whole process that is possible this month that I don't think we're really going to have the full grasp of until maybe even Pisces season.
Yeah.
Like if it's gonna, like something's gonna happen this month, and then in Pisces season you're gonna be like, oh wow, something happened in Cancer season that was so important that is now like changed how I view myself and spirituality, and um, even possibly like the type of work that you do and put out in the
Yep.
world. So pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah. I definitely see with this energy of Venus and Mercury, it's a lot about once again our emotions. And I do think our emotions, we're going to see shifts that are going to change us for the in a large way, right? And so, you could think about like we have all these emotions that play through our lives that really affect the what we do and what we create, like our manifestations. So it's really at this point you're kind of being exposed, is what I'm seeing, like exposed to things that are causing you to not go down and manifest the path that you want. It's focusing on like kind of like showing you kind of the negative things that you're kind of causing in your life. And so it's about you paying attention to your emotions and how they're affecting you in the long run. And I feel like this is going to be a long playing theme as we kind of move through this. And it's in the hopes of clearing it. So it's about recognizing these emotions and how they're kind of controlling your life and making sure that you're getting rid of it. You don't want to be addicted to like your bad emotions. You want to make sure that you're bringing in what you want and you're really feeling that in your life. So, which totally plays into like your spiritual life. I think we discount so much about like how we're like feeling And then we're out here trying to do and create things in kind of like that spiritual growth realm, like when you talk about like manifestation, all that sort of thing. And if you're not emotionally on board, you are not going to be bringing in the right stuff for you. So I think it's all about us getting closer and more open and ready to be emotionally on the right path of where we need to go. So that's my take of it.
Yeah,
I'm really
for
hoping so.
sure. It can't hurt, right?
Yep.
It's always good to kind of look at yourself and how you're playing a part in your own evolution and your own manifestations of your reality, and get real honest with yourself about that.
Exactly. Exactly. Anything else before we wrap up?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, have a great full moon. We will see you back from the new moon and then get ourselves prepared for that final closeout of this short cycle with the full moon in Capricorn following that. So we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.